G'day trainers, welcome to what should have been the first episode of Pokemon Dungeons and Dragons, where I was able to convince, it didn't actually take too much convincing, but I was able to get 5 of my friends to agree to play this. I do want to have a first off massive shout out to our Dungeon Master. Again, none of us have ever done anything like this, and she has taken up the absolutely monumental challenge of becoming a first time DM on something like this. It's going to be crazy. She's doing an amazing job. And again, just thank you. Thank you. We all appreciate it. Guys, I messed up. We had our first game today. It is the 21st of August. It's a Sunday. We played for close to 3 hours. I went to edit. I've gone to edit. And apparently I added the wrong audio output source. And all you can hear is my audio. You do not get anything from anybody else. So that first episode was not properly recorded, which sucked because it was so much fun. Guys, I can't even explain how much fun it was. What I want to do, I just want to take a few minutes. I want to give everyone a rundown of what happened in that first episode because we're not going to replay it. There was a lot of really there was a lot of really good ad hoc stuff that really happened, stuff that really went off script that our DM was had scripted for. And I feel like if we went back to redo it, it's either going to come across as disingenuous, or I don't think it'll be as interesting. And we've already got a good momentum. Everyone really loved it. So I'd rather sort of do this as sort of like a session 0, and I'm going to give everyone a bit of backstory, what happened, introduce the characters to you, of course, and then we can sort of kick up on our next episode, which by the way, I have tested. I fixed the audio issue. So, our trainers, our players. Who have we got? We have got 5 young men who are all starting out together on their Pokemon journey. We start 1 week after they've all met. They've all, what would be the word? They have all congregated at the Trainer Academy in Viridian City in the Kanto region. I should let you know, this time period, it is in between the events of Gen 1 and 2 games, so it is after Red beats, and if you're going by manga or game logic, it's after Red has beat Blue to become Pokemon Champion. It's after Giovanni has been taken down. He's no longer at Viridian City Gym. That is kind of the time frame we're looking at here. So we meet up a week, about a week, 5 to 7 days after we've met up at Viridian City at the Trainer Academy. Now, Viridian City has taken a little bit of a hit. Having Giovanni and Team Rocket's headquarters here hasn't been too great. And our Dungeon Master explains that the Indigo League, the Pokemon League, or the PIA, the Pokemon Inspection Agency, they're considering blacklisting the Viridian City Gym from ever being able to be an official Kanto gym again. Is there going to be something we can do about that? Who knows? We do know, though, just screw Giovanni, man. Cool villain, cool organization. He did some horrible things to Pokemon. He deserves everything he gets. So we're starting there. Viridian City has got a new mayor going by the name of Mayor... I've got it written down. Mayor Basil, or Basil. I'm going to say Basil. Basil. Mayor Basil. And he's the one who's funded this Pokemon Trainer Academy, hoping to sort of reinvigorate things. He's done an incredible job, and while we may not be the age that Pokemon trainers usually kick off, of course we all know most Pokemon trainers get their license at the age of 10. Us being mature age, new fledgling Pokemon trainers, that's going to open up the world to some really exciting things. But who are these trainers? There is, of course, myself. I will be playing Jet, a young 18-year-old young man from the Johto region. That's right, I was born and grew up in the Johto region. I was born in Blackthorn City. My surname, it's actually Blackthorn. My full name is Jet Blackthorn. I, of course, have come here because I want to prove the abilities. I want to prove to a certain somebody that I have exactly what it takes to not only rise to their level, but to surpass it as well. Who is that person? We'll find out as time goes on. Secondly, we've got our next player, Volt the Third. Will that come into play? Who's Volt the First? Who's Volt the Second? I don't know. But he's a very secretive young man. He wouldn't share his goals. He didn't want to talk too much about his backstory. However, tragedy has befallen his family quite recently. His grandma has died very recently. Heartbreaking. This young man was born on Cinnabar Island. However, as we all know, there was a giant eruption. So, while he might have been born there, he actually grew up in Lavender Town in far east Kanto. Next, we've got Cooper, probably the most secretive young man that we are going to meet. He refused to share his goals. He refused to share his history. He did let us know he was planning on being the very best. He didn't think that he was going to succumb to anybody. He also kind of have a problem with me. I tried to be nice. He was actually quite rude to me. I'm very excited to see how this is going to go. But he hails from Castella City in the Unova region. Now, next up, we've got Finn, a very quiet but incredibly friendly young man who might actually be my personal favorite person in our game. I hope I'm going to gravitate towards this character because he just seems like a genuine dude. He's someone I want to befriend. He's someone that I'm going to try to befriend because he just seems like a good guy. But he hails from the Hoenn region, but recently, of course, he's moved to Kanto, which is why he's here in Viridian City. He just wants to catch as many Pokemon as possible and live the best life as a Pokemon trainer. We then have Vergus, a very flamboyant young man who loves everything to do with the outdoors. He wants to see and camp in as many places possible. He wants to pitch and raise that tent in every possible place. Will he do it? I think he will. Now, this young man is actually born and raised in Viridian City, so he knows this area quite well. Unfortunately, he also has had a little bit of tragedy recently. His older brother Virgo had died. As I said, our journey begins 1 week after we all came together and met at the Trainer Academy in Viridian City. Upon this, we are greeted by Professor Roke, who normally would hand out new trainer Pokemon, of course, at the Oak Corral, his laboratory in Pallet Town. But that isn't how this went down. He's met us at the Trainer Academy alongside Mayor Basil. So we were given a choice of 5 Pokemon to pick to start off with. There of course was going to be Bulbasaur, Squirtle and Charmander, but we also were able to pick out of Pichu and Eevee as well. Who picked? Who got what? We're going to start off with Volt the Third, who picked Pichu to be his partner. Next up was Cooper, and by the way, he gave Pichu the adorable nickname of Surge. Yeah, that's got me thinking too. Could it possibly just be a little a joke about electricity? Or does that call back to something? I guess we'll have to wait and see. Next up was Cooper, who picked up and chose an Eevee, who he's named Rev. Of course, Finn. What has fins? Fish. Fish live in the water. He picked up his Squirtle, who he quickly named Zale. After Finn, Vergus stepped up and picked his partner. He's a camper, man. He loves the outdoors. He loves the wild. Of course, he went a Bulbasaur. And that leaves Jet Blackthorn with the only Pokemon remaining, his first Pokemon partner, a Charmander. He didn't give it a nickname. He didn't. It's just there. It's just Charmander. Maybe he'll earn one in the future. Maybe Charmander will want one. I guess we'll have to wait and see. So, as soon as we've been given our Pokemon, Professor Oak calls us over to a side battle room and offers 2 of us a battle. This first battle goes down between Volt and Vergus, Pichu and Bulbasaur, and after an incredibly thrilling battle, Pichu managed, with help of his ability, what would his ability be? It was, oh no, I've forgotten. Oh no, what's Pichu's ability? Static! In this, Pichu had the static ability, and after Bulbasaur hit him with a tackle, ended up paralyzed, which allowed Pichu and Volt the Third to pull off the win. After this, we got hit with a little bit of other news. Two members of our party, they had received secondary Pokemon. Volt was called up. Apparently, in his grandmother's will, she had requested that her Azurill, her favorite Pokemon, be passed on to her grandson Volt. She wanted him to treat it as his own son, and that's what he plans to do. The Azurill has got the nickname Cushion. But I did say too, Vergus had also inherited another Pokemon. He inherited an Oddish, which he named Twinkle, and that has come from his late brother Virgo. But now we've got 2 of our 5 with 2 Pokemon, and the rest with only 1. So what to do? It turns out, within the Trainer Academy, there are rooms, almost like natural preserves. There were 4, and Professor Oak gave the 3 remaining trainers the opportunity to pick a door and go attempt at catching a second Pokemon, or catching their first Pokemon rather. So they were all given 6 Pokeballs and told to go nuts. Jet stepped up first, and after a little bit of investigation, a little bit of charming from himself towards Professor Oak, decided to pick door number 4. He had a feeling this is where the most powerful or rare of Pokemon were going to be, and boy was he right. He steps out into a luscious field surrounded by mountains, and the first Pokemon that came up to him was an adorable level 6 Larvitar. That's right, the first Pokemon Jet is able to capture is Larvitar. That is incredible. He didn't capture it the normal way. Normally you would battle, wear a Pokemon out, and try to capture it. Not Jet. He's a charmer. He's a people person. He's a Pokemon person. He spoke with the Larvitar. He bonded with this Larvitar. In the end, he held out a Pokeball. The Larvitar walks up to him, pushes it, and captures itself for him. I think this is going to be a start of a really, really good partnership. Next up, we of course had Cooper. He was going to walk in through one of the doors, and he picked the next highest, which was door number 3. The first Pokemon that Cooper approached, that approached Cooper rather, was an adorable little Ekans. This poison type Pokemon seemed to be quite interested with him. It approached him very, very easily, and after a little bit of a back and forth, again, no battle required, Ekans joined Cooper's party. That brought Cooper up to, of course, Rev the Eevee and his Ekans. I don't know if he's given it a nickname yet, but I guess we'll find out. After that, Finn steps up. Finn, being our final person, doesn't try any investigations. He doesn't care. He walks right through door number 2, and the absolute first Pokemon that he finds is a rather scared, a bit of a skittish Vulpix. Yeah, a Vulpix came out for him. And similar to Cooper, after a little bit of a back and forth, and without the need for a battle, Vulpix very, very quickly joined Finn's team. From here, we have exited the Trainer Academy. All of us have 2 Pokemon in tow. And Viridian City has opened up. Our first stop takes us to the local Pokemart, where Jet tries to do some rather clever things, or what he thinks are some clever things. So he attempts some rather large haggling attempts. But before he can get into the meat and potatoes of it, we do find out that, oh my god, I forgot his name. We find out that Vergus has a bit of a relationship with this man, and his name is in fact Dennis. Now, it's a bit of a love-hate relationship. They know each other, they're on good terms. However, Vergus does something. Vergus does something that Dennis did not like, and that was, he attempted to steal. Vergus has attempted to steal several super potions that had just been delivered to the Pokemart, and in the process, smashes all of them, except for one. Vergus did manage to get away with one, but of course, Dennis, the Pokemart owner, well, he noticed, and he was not happy. Thanks to of course, it's going to be a little bit biased, but of course, thanks to Jet's very quick thinking, he was able to offer a bit of a deal. We offered to help him out. He was very overrun. He had a huge amount of stock that had not yet been placed or accounted for, and Jet offered a little bit of a deal. He wanted an old rod. He wants to go fishing. Why? Who knows? Maybe he just likes the sea breeze. But he asked if we were to help put everything away, could we get an old rod could we get an old rod for free? Or could Jet get an old rod for free? And after a bit of umming and ahhing, there was a bit of a back and forth until he had a good idea. He wasn't going to get it for free anymore. Virgo saw to that. But we didn't want to get blacklisted either. We didn't want to be kicked out just for association with a person that has just stolen from them. So what Jet does, he offers the exact same deal. However, he will now pay $500 for the old rod instead of what he was asking at $2,000. So we were going to try and get it for free. We ended up getting it for 25%. However, that also covers the stolen goods from Vergus. We needed to appease him somehow. We even offered to clean it up. Of course, before Jet was able to get to the cleaning up, Finn was already down on his hands and knees cleaning it. Nobody asked, nobody prompted to him. He's just that good of a guy. So, from here, after a bit more of haggling back and forth, a few of us managed to get camping tents, so we don't need to sleep outside when we are going to be roughing it on the routes. One member had he had a way he wanted to try to get it. He forged a note. Well, he forged a smudged note and claimed that it was an order from Professor Oak for a camping set, a camping tent, in fact. And he tried to convince good old Dennis that Professor Oak was going to pay for this. After a bit of back and forth, Dennis the shopkeep accepted it, and Professor Oak is very soon going to be receiving a bill for $1,000. He even gave his own name. I don't think Professor Oak's going to be too happy about that. After we left, or rather, after everybody else left, Jet stayed behind. He saw a bit of an opportunity. He wanted to try. Viridian City is not what it once was. And of course, the one time of year when they would be getting lots of traffic at Pokemon League time, because if you need to travel through Viridian City to get there, well, they're not doing so well. Jet made the offer that if he sported the Viridian City Pokemart logo on his back or stitched onto his clothing, would they be willing to pay him? Unfortunately, this didn't go through. Jet did, of course, try to then change it to not a monetary value, but an item value. Unfortunately, it was a no-go. He tried as hard as he could. It was probably some of the greatest negotiation Jet has ever made. Dennis was not having a bar of it. Not for a young man on his first day as a Pokemon trainer without any badges. It just wasn't going to happen. From there, we head west, where we see an Officer Jenny and her Growlithe blocking the way. Jet, Cooper, and Volt all approach, hoping to find out what's happening. However, Officer Jenny was not willing to provide too much information. After several attempts at charming her and some very, very quick thinking, we found out it's because there has been a string of robberies and criminal activities happening all over the Kanto region by a mysterious group. Now, all we know about this group at this point is that they dress head to toe in black. They've got a bit of purple tipping their clothing, and there seems to be a giant N emblazoned on their uniforms. That's right, not an R. These are not Team Rocket remnants. Maybe they are, maybe they changed their name, but these are not people currently representing Team Rocket that we know of. Unfortunately, Officer Jenny refused to give us any more information after that, even though we were attempting to push. She wasn't having a bar of it. Next, we head up towards the closed down Viridian Gym, where we run into a young lady trying to sneak inside, maybe get a bit of a look inside. She goes by the name of Hallie, who Jet quite obnoxiously approaches and demands to know what she's doing, who she quickly says she's going around looking for remnants of Team Rocket. And that was kind of it. She was just looking around to see if there was anything left over. Now, upon hearing this, Jet did get a bit agitated. He questioned her maybe a bit more forcefully than you would hope to be questioned by a random stranger, but of course was very quickly pulled up by the rest of his crew. After quite a lot of words and a little bit of trickery from Volt, who tried to push Cooper into this young lady, a Pokemon battle ensued. Cooper challenged young Hallie to a battle after finding out who she was. But who was she? She is in fact part of a small mercenary group. I think mercenary is the way you would describe it. A small... No, there was another word. What was it? They weren't a mercenary group. They were... Give me one. They were a vigilante group. I think that makes it a little bit worse. So they're part of a small vigilante group that she told us was called Team Comet. It's only small, roughly 10 members, but they're just regular people who have dedicated themselves to taking the law into their own hands. They're not sufficed, they're not happy with the way Officer Jenny is managing things, and they think they can do better. More power to them. But this Pokemon battle ensued. Cooper versus Hallie. Hallie throws out her powerful Clefairy, thinking it's all she's going to need. Cooper, of course, relying on his his Eevee, to do battle against. It was, sorry, I wasn't sure. I thought I might have said the wrong Pokemon. No, he sent out his Eevee to do battle. However, the Clefairy made quick work, not without taking some damage, mind you, made quick work of Cooper's Eevee. But, of course, thanks to what Professor Oak offered, Cooper had a second Pokemon on hand, his Ekans, who he sent out and almost instantly, very, very quickly, wiped the floor with Clefairy. There was nothing Hallie could do. After the battle finished up, she went to retreat. However, not before saying she was going to keep an eye on us, let others of her organization know of us, and perhaps, maybe we'll even ally in the future. But I guess that's just what we're going to have to wait for and see how that sort of relationship develops. Now, this is where we end the first part. I know I've just done all this in about 22 minutes, but this took us close to 3 hours in game. Guys, honestly, you might even be a little bit happy that the audio got all messed up, because we were awkward as hell. None of us have played D&D before. None of us were familiar with this. It was awkward, but we loved it. And by the time we got to the end, people were getting into character. People were smashing it. I cannot say I was unhappy. Wait, sorry. Yeah, I would be lying if I said I was unhappy with anyone's performance today. Every single one of these players, every single one of my friends did an exceptional job. And I am so unbelievably happy and proud of how they all did this. I'm excited for what this series is going to do. I'm excited to see where this is going to go. Guys, I'm excited to see how you feel about it. I really am. So we're going to get the next game up within, well, I guess it'll be the first game, but it'll be the second game. We're not starting over, but we will try to maybe recap some things, but we'll see. That should be coming in about 2 weeks. We will be playing fortnightly. And we might even, at some point, decide to stream it live and then upload it afterwards as a video as well. Maybe we'll stream to Twitch and then upload to YouTube. We'll see. But guys, that was it. When you see it, let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think of all of this. And real quickly, I did forget something. Me, Jet, I went fishing. I ended up reeling in a level 2 Magikarp. However, it didn't quite have the stats that I wanted. After a little bit of hostility, Volt and Jet, they had a bit of a bro moment. They helped each other out. Jet decided he didn't want this Magikarp, and before destroying it in battle to gain the experience, he asked Volt if he would like a catch, which he did. Volt being the first member of our crew to get 3 Pokemon. That's right. So, by the end of the first game, or the first session rather, we had Jet Blackthorn with his Charmander and his Larvitar, We had Volt the Third with his Surge, the Pichu, his Cushion, the Azurill, and his Magikarp. We had Cooper with his Rev, the Eevee, and his Ekans. We had Finn Mizuko with his Zale, who's a Squirtle, and his Vulpix. And Vergus Honkton with his Bulbasaur Sparkles and his Oddish Twinkle. Guys, just let me know what you think. I'm so excited. Have a great day.